Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Hi Denise, thanks for coming on. Yeah, it's good. We've got quite a few people on already. I'm so excited for tonight's show. What happens? Oh, we're just connecting with our first guest now. Hi Nighat,
Hi, Roz. How are
I'm
you?
fine. How are you?
Bit rushed. I just came in. I just got in from outside and it was pouring down with rain.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yes,
okay. Well, it's lovely to have
uh-huh.
you on here. Yeah? Nice to see you.
Lovely. Hello to all your guests and lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so it's exactly 8 o'clock. So we're
Perfect.
so I think we're gonna get started. We're gonna get warmed up. So are you all comfortable?
Comfortable as I can be.
Okay, so I'm just going to see if anyone else is gonna come on, and then we're gonna start the wonderful show. So I'm really excited with tonight's show because it's really to dedicate it to parents. I think it's really important to mark what's been going on for children during the pandemic because obviously we know as adults, some of us have been quite fearful, some of us have been quite proactive, some of us have been up and down. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. So imagine what it's like for young children who don't really understand everything that's going on, especially if they're younger children. So
Mhm.
I think it's really important to dedicate this show to parents so that they can come on and express how they feel and how they've coped, how they've managed. And then we'll have this as a recording, you know, as part of history. Because we're going to look back on these years, aren't we, in a few years' time and say, wow,
Exactly.
I can't believe we lived through all of that. So such an unusual circumstance, isn't it? Mm.
Definitely. It definitely has been challenging times
Mm.
for all of us.
Mm.
We have it's something that we haven't faced before,
Mm.
and it's all new for us as
Mm.
adults. And imagine what's going through children's minds,
Yeah.
and depending on what age they are. So
Mm.
it's really important to remember that the
Mm.
age before you start speaking about this. Obviously, we've already been through this,
Of
but
course.
depending on how much information you should
Mm.
share, depending
Yeah.
on what age they are, because if they're younger, they don't need to know everything. They don't
Yeah.
need to be worried about all the things that we're worried about, because everything that we worry about, the anxiousness
Mm.
we go through, children feel it. You
Okay.
may not know, but they are feeling it. So
Mm.
they are living whatever you're living through. So
Of
depending on
course.
what you're sharing, what you're talking about in front of them, and how you're explaining it to them, because the pandemic is not over yet.
Yeah.
And some children have gone back to school, and some key workers children were
Mm.
going back to school from before, but now some of the schools have been open for the younger years, and they have sent some children in. But many of the mothers that I've spoken to, because I deal with lots of ladies,
Mm.
lots of mothers, and they haven't sent their children back to nurseries and schools because they're very anxious
Okay.
themselves right
So
now. Because
before we go into any details, so we've got a few people on now. So I'm going to introduce you before we get into a discussion.
that's fine.
So I have Nighat Khan with me, who I've actually done lots of work with in the past. We've worked together on some fantastic projects. So Nighat Khan runs a company called New Vision for Women. She helps women find their true potential. She actually let go her successful banking career in the city and decided to work closely with the community around near where she lives. She works with women, empowering and motivating them and helping them with self esteem and confidence. She has also done many projects in the last 4 years. One of her projects was showcased in Buckingham Palace as a community leader where she met the Queen. Wow. She also won an award for her work. So, wow, that is a fantastic introduction, Nighat. You've met the Queen. You can't get much higher than that.
It was an honor. Definitely,
Mm,
it was an honor.
mm,
Thank you, Ross, for inviting me. It's lovely to be here
mm-hmm.
and see your audience. It was definitely, I was surprised myself that I got invited. But the thing is, it's nice to be recognized.
Yeah.
Definitely, I cannot complain about that. my parents were more happy than me. They were like, oh, wow, my daughter, my daughter. I was like, okay, yeah, the Queen has invited me. It won't be true until I've been there. So when I actually visited the Buckingham Palace, she's a very humble lady.
Right.
And I thought maybe I'm not going to meet her. She's going to be far away or something. But actually she came up. She asked me what I do, what area I'm in and what is my expertise. I was like very surprised. She asked me 3 questions and I was quite shocked. So it was nice to be recognized, definitely.
So you work mainly in Lambeth in South London, don't you?
That's right, yes.
Okay. Brilliant.
So South London is the area that I cover at the moment. I mean, we're open for other areas if you want to invite us. Mostly working with women and mothers.
Yeah, so you're the director of the Women's Project, which is New Vision for Women. Many of the women that you work with are parents. So how have they found parenting during the lockdown and the pandemic and everything? So the ladies that you work with, how have they found it generally?
Most of them surprised themselves because some of them were quite overwhelmed because all of a sudden it came quite quickly. Nobody prepared themselves. So they were stuck at home with children ranging from different ages. And then all of a sudden they thought that, what are we going to do? And we shut down quite quickly because even like myself, I had some sessions running and we thought, slowly we're going to wean them out or something. But then all of a sudden, because we left it for too late, the lockdown came very late for us in UK. And when it came very suddenly. So nobody had time to prepare. So this is why we had enormously long queues and rations were running out and, parents were panicking, what should we do now? So some of the ladies felt a little bit overwhelmed because they had to become teachers now. So they were teaching at home, and they were cooking, they were cleaning, they were trying to work from home as well. So it was like lots of hats all of a sudden, and then they were all stuck at home. So it was a little bit challenging. But I think when the school started to send work in for the children, depending on what age range they were, I think even now, some of the parents who are not sending their children to school, I think don't worry too much. Don't have to panic that everything has to be done and we need to do it as it has been requested. Because don't give yourself. You can have a bit more relaxed. Maybe the teacher might not agree with me, but but you can have a bit more relaxed attitude, and teachers will understand. School will understand as well.
Yeah. So, were there any specific problems that you needed to address with your project, with the mums that you were working with and the parents?
First of all, the thing was that a lot of mothers thought that they have to take all this on board straight away, and they have to find solutions for everything straight away. And then what I was saying to lots of women were that lots of mothers and parents that they need to take care of themselves.
Yes, self-care.
You have to take care of self-care is very important, and you have to take care of yours. You're the number one person. If you go down, and then everybody, you can't manage anything else. So you sometime that you had just take it for yourself. Take a break if you need to. If you are doing everything and you overstretch yourself, it's okay. It's okay to take a little break whenever you can. And for the children, the main thing was because all of a sudden everybody was home. Nobody had any timing. People were getting up late, going to sleep late, and then you had children all around you until you went to bed yourself. So routine was the crucial thing which had to be put in, because children love routine. When they go to school, routine, so they know that when it's like in the morning it's like carpet time, and then after that it's singing time, and then you do this and you do that. And for the little bit older ones, they know that break time is coming at this time, lunch time is this. Before that, we're going to do reading, we're going to do this. So this is the same thing I emphasize, that make some kind of a routine for them. It's very important. And then with that routine, then you have at least everything scheduled. It doesn't have to be a fixed routine, because obviously pandemic was, what we were all going through. It's a flexible routine. It's a flexible routine, but have a routine. So by the time by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you've put the kids to bed, you have some time for yourself as well, because otherwise you're on the go, you're burning yourself out.
So you run a project. You run a project that's normally in groups and face to face. So obviously during the pandemic you couldn't do that. So you've had to switch your project, and tell us a little bit about the project that you're doing now with the parents online.
Right. So there were some ladies who approached me, which I was trying to help early on. So we set up some WhatsApp groups on video call, because you can only, I think, have like 4 people on there. So we did set up small groups for the people who needed help. Some of the ladies who felt very anxious, who were having sleepless nights, and they were hit quite hard with this, lots of anxiety with the pandemic. So because obviously we had so much bad news from media, social media, TV, everything. So a lot of people took that on board, and they were feeling, very low, that, and especially the uncertainty of what's going to happen next. And so I was trying to work with them, just telling them to think about today, get through today, instead of thinking about, what's going to happen after 1 month. Are the children going to go back to school? Are the schools going to open? What are we going to do? How are we going to manage it? Are they going to do they have to wear masks? Am I going to become ill? My children will they become sick? So all these things, instead of dealing with them with all these things running in your head, I was just telling them to just focus on today. Let's get through today. Focus on next day, and take a day at a time. Sorry, I'm feeling really hot. So then, so the one-to-one was really good, because right now they were just stuck at home, and as they were feeling very lonely and isolated. So the project came along because of this, that just to remove the isolation and the loneliness, and connecting them with other groups and other members in the community, where they can find some new friendships, because everybody was busy with their own families. So nobody had time for anybody else, because they were trying to manage themselves. So, and everybody thought that I'm the only one who's feeling like this. So just to get them to befriend each other. And then then as it eased, the lockdown eased, just get them out of the home. Some of them they were feeling very anxious to get out, go outside, and so on. So just budding them up with somebody else to get them to, take small steps, go outside, take the children out, go for a walk down the road, and so on, and do a bit of exercise and so on. But just getting out of the house, getting some fresh air, but maybe go at a quieter time instead of going in living in London. Most of the streets are quite busy, and then it kind of became, and this is when people started feeling anxious that, I might catch it, and they're not wearing a mask, and this and that. So slowly, as the lockdown came, we started to do that. But then this is when when I decided to create this project on Zoom, it was all about wellness. So just focusing on your mental health and, your well-being. And it's just a friendly, nice chat that we have for an hour and a half. We have 2 sessions during the week, on a Tuesday and a Friday, where anybody can come along, and we're all mothers and women. It's for women, so you can come and openly discuss anything you want, and the help can be provided according to whatever the need is. And then we do some gentle exercises, some relaxation exercises. So one part at the end, this is what we do, just to, and this week I think we're going to be doing tapping, I think. And we did hand massage. That was really nice. I enjoyed that, because I didn't even know there was like some points which are connected to your body everywhere. So that was really eye-opener.
Yeah, just like your feet, all the points correspond to different parts of your body, and
exactly,
you can really
so
help that. Yeah. So I'm just going to read out a comment. So we've got a comment from Denise, and she says, I'm working from home, homeschooling and managing a health condition. So she said, definitely self-care is important. So can you imagine, like, some parents are managing health conditions, they're managing work, they're trying to be teachers, we wear so many hats as parents. And I know in my household, things have definitely been very up and down, you know, and there's been some days when we really just think we've got control of it all, and then everything just blows up, and then we're back to square one again, and it's kind of like, I don't want to do the homework. Yeah, so it's a process, definitely.
Definitely. I remember in the beginning when I started working from home, I think because I was home, everybody thought I was available.
Yes.
So every 2 minutes, somebody was coming and disturbing me. Every 2 minutes, Mama, can I have this? Mommy, can I do this? Even my husband, it's just like everybody. They just thought you're available just because you're home.
Do
so
this,
I had to
do
like
that,
set some timings.
Boundaries.
Exactly. I had to set some timings that, you know, from this time to this time, please. If it's not mega urgent, do not disturb me. Even just to get an hour, 2 hours, you know, of work done, you know, during the day, because that's when you're more productive, isn't it, during the day?
Yes. So another good thing that Denise has said is, she said her children did their own timetable because she wanted them to take ownership of it. So I don't know how that worked with your children. I got my daughter to do her own timetable, but then it just went.
One second.
Yeah. The timetable just went on the fridge, and then it just stayed there. So even though she wrote it out beautifully, but the timetable was never looked at again. It just got stuck on the fridge, and that was it. So
Denise, what excellent thing that your children made their own routine, because this is really key, that if they make a schedule and if they made it themselves, they you know, they're going to stick to it as well. But it's good for them to have a routine, and for you to as well to have a routine, and you know that they're going to it's like schedule, so you know what's coming up next. They're going to be doing this, and everything will be covered. Because my son, both of my children, they're not in primary school, they're in secondary school. So this was good for them as well. That you know, although first in the beginning they were going to sleep like 12, 1 o'clock, and then I said to them, "Oh my God, no, this is not on." And then
it's not a holiday.
The next day they're not waking up, and then they were set schoolwork that they had to do as well. So I said to them, no, this is it. But you know, so they were going to sleep in a reasonable time, and on the weekend they can do whatever they had to do. So they had to do consecutive, put in a couple of hours to the secondary school, they're not younger ones.
So Deliwe Elliott says, such a great idea to give them ownership and control of their daily routine. Deliwe is going to come on later to talk to us as well. Eileen says, you look so confident. I love it. So keep the comments coming, guys. Keep the emojis and send us some hearts and some love so that we know you're out there and that you're watching and that you're enjoying what we're talking about. So that's absolutely brilliant. So
and for the parents out there, I just want to say that you know, you're doing your best. You're doing your best, and this is good enough. And do not compare yourself with somebody else. And this is not the time that we have to say that, you know, this time, in this period of time we're facing the pandemic, our children have to excel to 3 levels above their expectations or whatever. You know, don't give unrealistic pressure. Don't put unrealistic pressure on them, because it's not fair. It's not fair, because and the thing is, like, depending on what age they are, they probably went through some kind of anxiety as well.
Yes, of course.
Because at some point in April, I became quite sick myself. So at that time, nobody was testing, so I didn't know what I had. But I was stuck in my room for a while, and then for 14 days I had quarantined myself, and then I actually came out, and I was like, I had this anxiety. I could not eat, I could not drink, because everybody had texted me all these messages. People are dying here, people are dying over there. All bad news, all very, very bad news. So I came off social media totally. I just stopped watching TV. I just thought, you know, I can do much better than this. And I tapped into my friends, and I got some help from them. And they gave me some good exercises to do and relax myself. And then and just focus on positivity. Positivity is the most important thing that we can start our day with. And sometimes we forget, because our mind wanders off all sorts of areas, and we're thinking of so many things. So this is one good thing that you can do in the morning, is that when you wake up, just try to focus on the positivity, and maybe have a gratitude list if you can.
Excellent.
That'd be really good, because that'll bring you back to the, you know, goodness of all the good things that's still happening to us.
I mean, go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say the pandemic, although it brought lots of bad things, but it for it made us really think about like what is important.
Yes.
In the beginning, it was like our survival. Like we just had to get food in our house, or try to get some just the necessary things. So maybe if we can, I know all the shops are open and everything is back to normal, but if you can still maintain your simplicity, that'd be really good. And keep your home simple and your lifestyle a little bit simple. And anything extra you have in your house, please get rid of it. Donate it.
Declutter. Good time to declutter, isn't it? So I just
Good
wanted to
time to
go
declutter.
back to what you were saying about having a gratitude list, because as coaches, that's something that we always say to our clients that we're working with, that if you can develop a habit of doing a gratitude list, whether you do it every day or every other day or even once a week, it's such a good practice to get into, and it just instantly makes you feel better. And it's such a great tool. So yeah, gratitude list is fantastic. And I think the project that you're doing where you're connecting people and helping other people to overcome their own fears and anxieties about the pandemic, then actually that will help you as well. So actually focusing on other people and helping and seeing how you can help your friends and your neighbors, or whether you're part of a project like you are, I think all of those things help to take our minds off all the scary things that we can get sucked into in the media and social media. So yeah, that's good.
It's important because and a lot of people think that they're alone facing
Yes,
certain problems and certain situations,
yes.
and you might not be alone because then you have a friend to share with as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And the gratitude list, if you have a chance, do it with your children. Just get them to think about, what are they happy about, or just on a smaller level. What are they happy? What was a good thing which happened today? And focus on these things.
And it helps them, doesn't it? So I just want to say hi to a few people who we've got on. Robert, hi. Angela, hi. Rima, hi. Amber, hi. Acorns, hi. Acorns to Oaks. I think that's a company name. Denise, she says, I'm thankful for this time. So she's already starting her gratitude. She's saying, I'm thankful for this time. We are growing our own veggies. Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that's really
she said the
good.
children are loving it. And we're also getting a kitten. Okay, fantastic. And
That's
I read
good.
somewhere that they were saying that cats and dogs rescue homes, they've been absolutely inundated during the lockdown with
Oh,
requests
nice.
for dogs, puppies, and kittens. But remember, kittens and puppies are for life, not just for lockdown.
Exactly. Yeah. My
Okay.
daughter would be very happy to hear this because she's been on my case to get a pet, and I
Yes.
said to her, "Oh my God." I said, "Well, if we get a pet, you have to take care of it,
Oh
not
no,
myself."
no. Okay. Hi,
So,
Scott. Yeah. Sorry, it's Jenny. Hi, Jenny Jones. Sorry. Yes, Acorns Dog. Hi,
I was
everyone.
just gonna
Thanks for
say
tuning in. It's really good to see you. So yeah, that's brilliant. So
bonding as well. The pandemic has bonded us a bit more
yes,
closer as well as a
families.
family. I think
Yes.
that's really important as well. To focus on that this time that we've got, some good things have come out of it,
Yeah.
definitely.
And we also have to recognize that some families have actually found it quite difficult being in such close quarters as well. So there's been,
Yeah.
not everyone's had a positive family experience. So we
I
recognize
think
those
up to
people as
now,
well.
maybe
Mm,
we probably some families
yeah,
are, I mean, some people are a
yeah.
bit sick of seeing each other. Maybe we all need a break.
Okay, so look, Nighat, time is running on with us. It's been absolutely
Thank you,
fantastic
Roz.
having you on as a guest. I hope you listen to the rest of the show, and do
I will.
drop me your details later, and I will put them in the comments. If anyone wants to get in
Yes,
touch with you about maybe logging on to one of your Zoom projects.
yes, please.
Mm,
If anybody wants to come on, you're
mm,
all most welcome to join us.
mm-hmm.
It's a women's group. Sorry, men. It's only a women's group. But but you're all welcome to
Mm,
join us at any time. I will send the details to Roz,
mm.
and yeah, and share your thoughts and share your expertise with us.
And before you go, hang on, yeah. So some people are saying Denise is saying her colleague is going through a divorce. And then Rima says, my friend has written a series of books about her resume dog dodger. Resume dog dodger. I don't know what that is, but anyway, some people have done some fantastic things. We had 3 authors on the last show, and they produced some fantastic work. All 3 of them were parents, and they'd all written books during lockdown. So yeah, some people are doing
That's
some great
great.
things, some people are struggling, and we will acknowledge that. So Nighat,
What do you call it? My one little project
yeah,
that we did, small project with the families that who were at home during the lockdown, was that we collaborated with another company, and then we provided seeds and pots and soil. And so when the bulk of it came to me, I handed it out to the local people, and we started growing. Actually, if I should have brought it here to show you, that we handed out for the children, especially for the families, for them to see that, you know, how and some of them who are because all of us living in London are not blessed with gardens, and so we are living in what do you call it, flats, and we don't have balconies or even just small space. So they started growing their own, most of them were vegetables and some salads. So just to see from the beginning, from a seed, put the seed in, and then how the plant flourishes. So that was a little nice green project that
yes.
we did
See,
with our family.
there's some great things that can be done within
And my
communities.
daughter, she was encouraged to, I mean, herself, probably from school, she started writing a diary. So she was impressed by Anne Frank.
Yeah, yes.
Anne Frank. She
Yes.
said, "Oh, maybe somebody might read my diary." I said, "Please complete
Yes.
it."
And I think a lot of people have written diaries during the lockdowns, and I think in the future people will look back on that to see what the experiences. Maybe in future people will start looking at Facebook Lives as well and seeing what people have been talking
Yeah.
about. Maybe ours. So
Thank
Rima
you so
says.
much,
So
Roz.
Rima says her friend written a series of books about rescue dogs. Sorry, that was a typo. So,
Oh, rescue dog.
so
Nice.
thank you so much. I am going to have to let you go, even though we could sit and talk all night. And yeah, do send me your details. I'm going to drop your details in the comments later.
Thank
And
you,
anyone
Roz.
who wants to
And
get hold of you,
everybody,
yeah, take care.
of course. Take
Bye
care. Bye.
bye. Bye bye. So let me just make sure that I don't cut everyone off. Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Nighat. It was great hearing about all the different projects that she's doing with parents, the planting project, the connecting all the mums together who are feeling a bit isolated and a bit overwhelmed and a bit anxious. So that was really, really good. So our next guest is called Deliwe Elliott. So I'm just going to find if she is on. Hi, Monica. Someone said, great hosting, very interesting. Thank you very much. So I'm going to see if I can invite her on. Okay, so I have sent Del an invite. So while we're waiting for her to connect, she's connecting straight away. Thank you. So actually, we've got another exciting guest coming on. Hi, Deliwe.
Hi, Roz.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Sorry, I should try and make this still. Otherwise, it's going to make people feel sick.
You're looking very smiley.
Oh, you know, it's just been one of those wonderful
Have you had a
days in the
wonderful
rain.
day?
I did some cycling in the rain earlier, so actually I'm pretty chuffed with
Okay.
myself.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. I know time is
My
precious for
pleasure.
you. So yeah, we're really grateful to have you here. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce you. So Del Elliott is a specialist teacher. She's been a teacher for 15 years, and she actually works as a special education needs teacher, and she studied at UCL's Institute of Education. She is now head of learning development and a Senko at an independent prep school in South London. Her role involves working with primary age pupils on a one-to-one or in small groups, supporting teachers and parents to better understand the needs of pupils, and works closely with the school counsellor and pastoral team. So you have such a wide overview of what's going on with children within schools, and also what anxieties parents might have and things like that. And I know you haven't been working throughout the whole of the lockdown. So yeah, just welcome to the show, and just tell us what it's been like for you during the lockdown.
Thank you for having me. Just a little correction. I haven't been teaching for 15
Oh, right,
years.
sorry.
I've been working with children with special needs for 15
right,
years.
sorry.
But I've been teaching for 8 years.
Okay.
And lockdown for me, as Mrs. Khan was saying just a moment ago, you know, I live in a big enough house with a lovely garden. So lockdown has been pretty good for me. Like you say, there are families that, you know, perhaps in a one-bedroom flat with lots of kids or whatever. So I know, you know, it's been much more challenging for some people. In terms of work, work's been different. I have been working through lockdown, but of course it's been very different. So what I've been doing is teaching online, teaching either in one-to-one or two-to-one groups, which has had its challenges. So much is lost through teaching online, and you know, although I'm sure there are lots of benefits to it in terms of the children have been continuing with their education, you know, it's just it's not the same. It's not the same. So you know, I want to have a big shout out to all those parents that have suddenly become tutors at home, and have done, you know, such an amazing job through the whole of lockdown. I don't understand how any parent can be working full-time whilst having little primary school kids at home as well. I think that they've all done an amazing job to kind of come this far. So yeah, lockdown's been interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I was making a list with someone the other day about all the different hats that we have to wear. You know, we're teachers, we're cooks,
Yeah.
you know, we're entertainers, you know, as well as doing our own jobs, and we're cleaners and all sorts of things. So yeah. It's been an interesting time. And so what impact do you think the pandemic will have on children in the future? Because obviously you work with lots of children.
I think it's difficult to tell, and it's going to be different for each child. I think for the majority of children, it will just be like, oh my gosh, do you remember that time during COVID? And, you know, COVID's going to be spoken about in the same way that, I don't know, we talk about various different events that have happened in the past. And, you know, most children will just be like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I think for some, it's going to have a bit of a residue in terms of mental health. And that's something that schools are definitely going to be looking into in terms of the return for September. I think in terms of education, as a primary school teacher, I don't have any worries about the children's education, whether they've been working every day or not at all.
Ah, okay.
I don't have huge concerns about that. My biggest area of concern would be their mental health.
Ah, okay.
Because you can always catch up with your education. You know, schools are going to be doing all they can to make sure that we catch up on whatever's been missed.
I'm so glad you've said that, because I think a lot of parents are really worried about their children missing out on the education, because don't forget, for not everyone's child has had the opportunity to go back, depending on what year group they're in.
Yeah.
And, you know, by the time September comes, some children would have been at home for like 5 months. So I think parents are getting really anxious about the fact that their children are actually falling behind and what's going to happen when they go back in September. So I'm really glad you've said that you think that it won't matter so much into academically wise.
I think in the grand scheme of things, it's really tiny in comparison to everything else that's going on, and in comparison to their whole schooling career. You know, 3 months is really not that much.
Yeah.
So I think there's always opportunities for them to catch up, whether that means additional homework when they start back in September, or if it's things like, you know, them investing more in online platforms so children can catch up online. And then also I know there are a lot of boroughs that are doing catch-up lessons. So yeah, I mean, if you're worried about your child having missed X amount of school, do get in contact with, you know, the local LA, and they'll be able to hopefully point you in the right direction for perhaps continuing their education over the summer, if that's what parents are looking for. I'm volunteering with PACT, an organisation that's helping to allow children to carry on with their education through the summer. So yeah, I mean, mental health for me is probably the biggest, my biggest area of concern.
Yeah.
You know, what impact is this going to have on the children that perhaps their social skills weren't particularly good to begin with, and now they've been in lockdown and they haven't had that social interaction. Other children that perhaps are on the special needs, register, that, they were already behind in school. Those are the children that I'd be worried about in terms of education. But again, education aside, what is that doing to their mental health when they go back in September? Does this mean that they're going to be even further behind their peers? Is that going to have an effect on their self-esteem? And then again, their mental health. So for me, education can always be boosted in some way, but it's that, it's that mindset that I'm really going to be looking for when we get back to school. Who are going to be our refusers to come to school because they've been out of school for so long, so they're going to be refusing to come back to school. Who won't be able to maintain their attention through the whole day, who will be needed extra breaks and things like that. But I think hopefully schools, and I know for sure my school will be putting things in place to make sure that those things are looked at, and there will be an area that the children can go to if you're finding the classroom a little bit too stressful, or so. But then again, we also don't know what situation we're going to be in September. Fingers crossed. I was saying the other day that we're planning for the worst, but we're hoping for the best in all areas. So
because schools are having to have these bubbles now, aren't they? And children are going to be put in bubbles, and there's still going to try and do social distancing even in September. So I think it's going to be different, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Our school went back on the 1st of June. We had reception year 1 reception year 1 and year 6. We had those in for the first 2 weeks, and the social distancing, they just took to it straight away. We made sure we sent a pack home that explained how things were going to be different. They had pictures to see how things were going to be different, so they were well prepared for when they got back. And they just loved it. They were just so happy to be back with their friends. It was weird, of course, but it wasn't a case of 2 meters. You need to make sure you're 2 meters. It was just gentle reminders here and there, and then you'd be like, oh no, I forgot. So within the first 2 weeks, they'd forgotten about COVID. It was back to normal, so to speak. So hopefully in September, our lockdown rules won't be so tight, and things will be a bit easier for us to manage, because if we're having everyone back, then we don't have the space to social distance. So hopefully we'll be in a position where we can just be back to normal, but perhaps we'd still be in our bubbles, so classes aren't supposed to mix. So if one person within a class is unwell, then that's it, just that class will go and self-isolate, and we know that they've not been in contact with any other class to help reduce the risk of spreading it.
So I'm just going to read out some comments. Someone says, this is a really good interview. Well done. Someone said, well done. Hi, Peter. Hi, Richard. Hi, Petra. Say hi, shout outs to people. Hi, Duati, Rima. And Denise said she's had to organise WhatsApp play dates with her son because he was missing his friends so much. And we've had to do that as well, because they do miss that social interaction, and they are so used to being in a classroom with 30 children, and then suddenly they're at home, and like we were saying before, home is seen as somewhere where they relax,
they take it easy, they play games. It's not for school. Home is not for school.
But then now they're having to.
But all of a sudden, it's everything.
So how they're going to cope going back, it's going to be interesting. Dee Dee Jones, hi Dee Dee. She says, I hope schools incorporate trauma counselling or some kind of intervention to support young people returning back to school. I mean, that's quite an interesting point. Great point, Dee Dee, because I feel like you say, some kids will just go and they'll see their friends and everything's going to just click back into place, and it was COVID, but hey, we're back at school now. We're going to have a great time. And I think some kids, they may struggle. You say, being out of that routine for 5 months, it's a long. That's nearly half a year. That's a long old time. So we agree. Someone else said this is amazing. Someone else said, I think regarding the children's mental health and well-being and socialization, if they are able to meet their peers, it helps them emotionally. I say this as my 3-year-old granddaughter has moods and withdrawals due to no nursery all of a sudden. Just in the last 3 weeks on meeting a couple of friends, she has improved. So yeah, I think maybe that's something as parents, we just need to make that extra effort to try and connect with their friends and meet up during the summer holidays when perhaps we wouldn't, because everybody would be going off on their holidays, whereas maybe a lot more people are staying home now. So maybe we can make that extra effort to just try to connect to them with their friends, because I think we underestimate how much they really do need that. Someone said, I missed 2 years when I was 6 years old. So from the age of 6 to 8, she missed 2 years. But she said she ended up going to uni and having a great career.
Yeah, exactly.
A great career as a producer at the BBC. So kids do catch up given the right support.
Definitely.
A healthy and positive mind will definitely help kids on the long term and motivate kids to learn. Yeah, well said, Rima Ralph. That was fantastic. Play and fun, Eileen says. And Rima says lack of social interaction has really affected her kids. So hi, Louise. Nice to see you on here. So finally, before we let you go, do you
just to make a point of what you were saying about socializing? I think it's also important that we model things for our children as well. So they need to see that mum's okay to go out and socialize, dad's okay to go out and socialize, my older sister is okay to go out and socialize. They need to see that modeling, that things are now okay, because of course when we first went into lockdown, it was explained to children that there are bad germs out there and we need to stay away from other people because of those bad germs. And it needs to be re-explained to them that actually now those germs are not as bad as they were before, and so therefore it's okay for us to see some people but not everybody. And I think that's what's going to be causing anxiety with children, because, you know, wash your hands, bad germs, make sure you wash your hands, sanitizer. And we need to make sure that we kind of undo that to a certain extent to help ease that anxiety that some children might have.
I mean, that's fantastic, because my last question was actually going to be, have you got any tips for parents? And I think that's a great tip, is to help our children to unlearn some of the more fearful things that we might have said at the very beginning, like you say about there's bad germs out there. I remember seeing pictures on social media of kids' hands, you know, red raw and lots of skin rashes and things like that from just overwashing and sanitizing and poor little things, you know, their hands were really sore and just knowing that they were so fearful that they were just washing and now, I mean, obviously we still have to do that.
Obviously, hygiene is important.
Yes,
we mustn't
of course, we still have to do it.
We mustn't backtrack on that. But in terms of socializing, we definitely need to remodel that for our children so that they're not anxious about it.
Yeah, no, that's a really good tip going forward. So relearn actually some of the things that we've said or what they might have heard on social media. One of the things that I've always said is just limit the amount of news as well that you expose your children to, because I think that can be quite scary, and the way that things are over dramatized and they put, you know, so many things, you know, obviously they have to report on the news, but I do think that sometimes kids can hear it and interpret it in their own way and get fearful. So we just have to be careful.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember, though, that kids are so much more resilient than we give them credit for. We as adults are the rigid ones. We have lived our life and we like things a certain way because of our experiences, but they're still learning, they're still growing, they're still understanding the world around them. So they're so much more resilient and so much more adaptable than perhaps we are. So I think, you know, we must also give them that credit and not worry too much. I mean, you'll soon know if your child's, you know, had any kind of negative residue coming out of this. And as soon as you do, please flag it. And I think that's a good thing for parents to know. A lot of parents kind of want to pretend that things aren't happening because then they have to deal with it as well. But the sooner you respond to the behaviors that your child is showing, the earlier that we can support them, and, you know, the less hopefully that will impact them in future. So, you know, do reach out if you're struggling at all. If you think your child is struggling, reach out. Nobody's gonna think that you're a bad parent, that you haven't done what you should have done. These are unprecedented times. We've all been put in situations where we have no idea what we're supposed to be doing. So please reach out and ask for help if needed.
And the schools have been great, actually. I mean, my daughter's school has been ringing on a regular basis to have a chat with her, you know, just to see how she's getting on and talk to her about what she's been up to, what she's been doing. And just and I think a lot of schools have been doing that, and like ringing the pupils individually and just checking in with them. And I think that just gives them that security that, okay, my teacher's still there and she still cares about me.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. I mean, my daughter's in year 6, so she's actually going to be leaving the school. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to go back just because of the space. But next week, they are going to go back for 2 days just to sort of have some closure and have a bit of fun and be able to say goodbye to their friends and teachers. So I think that will help.
And that's important.
Yeah.
That is important for sure. So that's really good.
Okay. Well, what can I say? Thank you. You've been a great guest, and you've come up with some fantastic
Thank you for having
tips and points. And yeah, I think we'll definitely have you back on again if you want to come back on when we do a segment around schools or children or parents. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Whew. This has been such a fantastic session. We've had so much information, and the guests have been brilliant. I mean, we had Nighat on earlier. She was talking about working with women and parents and keeping them connected throughout such a difficult time, helping them to deal with anxieties and overwhelm. We've had Deliwe talking about what it's like being a teacher in a primary school and giving us some great tips. And it's it is fantastic. And we've also got everyone's saying fantastic. So I'm getting some great send us some hearts, send us some love. I love, there's nothing better when you're on a live when you see all these little thumbs up and hearts. So keep sending them our way. It helps, it just helps. So the next guest that we've got on, our third and final guest for the evening, is a lady called Kath. So Kath, if you're listening, if you can just give me a little thumbs up so I can find you, and then I can invite you on. Let me know. Okay, so I'm just inviting you on, Kath. So, okay. Right, so Kath is our third and final guest. Eileen said, there you go, fabulous, thanks. Okay. Okay, so I'm just waiting for Kath to come on. Yeah, and it's just been amazing in terms of the knowledge that people have been sharing with us. And, you know, we have had a few parents that have been anxious in the past. So it's just been great for these guys to come on and just share that with our different audiences. So, hi, Kath.
Hello.
Hi.
Hiya.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, good. You look like you've just flown in from somewhere. Somewhere exciting.
No, I've just been watching this. Which has been brilliant.
How have you found the show so far?
Oh, amazing. Really amazing. Yeah,
good.
Fabulous speakers. So lots to live up to here.
Oh, okay. So without further ado, because time is always running away with us, because we just always have some fantastic guests on, and you know, each guest could chat for an hour each, but obviously we want to keep the show interesting and, you know, unique and different and dynamic, and we like to have different guests on to do their segments. So welcome. So I'm just going to dive straight in and introduce you. So Kath Routledge is a yoga teacher teaching adults and children, and also a relaxed kids coach. She works with children of all ages in schools, the community, and on a one-to-one basis. So when lockdown started, she wasn't able to continue with her usual work, So she wrote a book which has recently been published. Her book is called Yasmin Yogi and Phoebe B. The book teaches yoga, mindfulness exercises, breathing exercises, and relaxation to children aged 3 to 16. Did I get that right?
So I work with ages 3 to 16, but the
Yeah.
book's probably just up to age 10 or 11.
Okay,
But
yeah,
I'll talk
so-
a bit more about that
yeah,
in a minute.
okay.
But yeah.
Excellent. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, whereabouts in the UK you are, and how you came to write your book.
Thank you for having me here, and hello to everyone who's joining us this evening or later. So I'm Kath, as Roz has said. I'm based in Basingstoke in Hampshire, so just about 60 miles away from London. My background is in central government, so I used to work at the Home Office, the Cabinet Office, and the National Audit Office.
Oh, wow.
And I know, amazing. I've had some pretty amazing jobs actually, but I was on maternity leave with my second daughter about 6 or 7 years ago. I can never work out the exact time, but I was able to take a voluntary redundancy package. I think I would have found the commuting with 2 kids quite challenging, so I was lucky enough to get a redundancy package and able to follow a dream I'd had, to train to be a relaxed kids coach. So
wow.
So yeah, for the last 6 years I've been building up a business in Basingstoke, working mainly in schools, teaching relaxed kids, which is a 7-step program taking children from kind of high energy through a series of steps to relaxation, which I absolutely love. I've got lots of support locally in schools, and in the run up to lockdown I was working in I think I was running about 20 odd sessions in about 15 schools, working from preschool age up to kind of year 11, so working with students who are due to be taken this year, so kind of lots of stress on older children in particular. So it was brilliant to be able to go into schools to do this. And then of course lockdown came about, and I just found my work slowly trickling away until schools took the government
closed
down.
down.
So I was left with no work, because like being self-employed, and that was literally, so I couldn't teach yoga face to face, I couldn't do relaxed kids face to face. So I've got 2 children, Jasmine, who is 10, and Phoebe, who is 7. So having to homeschool them was kind of slightly challenging, and it's still ongoing. Jasmine was great though. She was happy to go onto Zoom and talk to her friends and do work with her friends for 3 or 4 hours a day, which I was quite amazed at. And then my younger daughter, who decided that I'm not a teacher, I'm not at school, so mummy's not a teacher, we're not at school, so I don't want to work. So
yeah, that's what I had.
That was fun. But you know, we got through it. And then in the kind of, I guess I feel quite fortunate, to be honest, because I think I've always wanted to write a book, but I never knew what I'd write a book about. And then it got to the point, and I think like everybody, having highs and lows. So some days waking up thinking, yeah, ready to take on the world, and then other days feeling quite low and really not wanting to do anything. And then fortunately on one of the days when things were going okay, I thought, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to write a book to support the children I can't support now because I can't see them. So yeah, Yasmin Yogi, I've got it here. And Phoebe B was created. So of course the book Yasmin Yogi and Phoebe B, kind of after my children. I've got Jasmine. So Jasmine became Yasmin in the book because Jasmine's going to secondary school in September, and she's a bit too cool to want to be associated with mum and a book. So she's happy with Yasmin. And then Phoebe, my 7-year-old, is Phoebe B. So we've, she's more than happy to be a little bee. So that's been lovely. And it's been brilliant to be able to do something that can support children's mental health and well-being, which is what it's all about, which is what I'm all about, being able to do that, because I've really missed going in and working with the children. So it's nice to be able to offer something that can support families. So my dream would be for families to work together, to come together and to do the exercises. And I know at the beginning when you said about kind of the book being for 3 to 16, and I kind of said it was probably up to year 10, up to year 6. The exercises are relevant to all ages, and I would teach them in my adult yoga class as well. But I just think it's more the illustrations that are a bit more childlike. So when you're in secondary school, they might be a bit a bit too childlike for the older kids. So yeah, so it's all really exciting, and it's kind of getting word out to be able to support
Wow,
people locally and around.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what your inspiration for your book is, but it's obvious, having just spoken to you, that it's your two children that have inspired you, plus
Absolutely.
the need or the want to reach out to the children that you've already been working with that you can't reach at the moment. So yeah.
And I thought when I kind of started writing it and getting the illustrations, I thought if nothing else, it's like a little legacy, I guess, for my girls, as you know, there'll come a point when I won't be here, hopefully a long time off now, but you know what I mean, that it's nice to be able to leave something like this. And I have actually got a series planned, so I want to do more books to support children's mental health. So yeah, it's all exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff. I'm just going to read some comments out. We've had quite a few people saying they definitely want the link to the book. So lovely idea. Where's the link to the book? Please post the link to the book. Can we have the link to the book?
Oh, thank you.
So that's great.
Oh, that's so lovely.
And it says, does Kath know if PRUs have relaxed kids coaches? So PRUs, you probably know, for our audience, are pupil referral units. So when children are expelled from school, they tend to go to pupil referral units. So someone's asking.
Well, I've personally gone to the local pupil referral unit and run sessions for kind of older students, so that was secondary age. But there are relaxed kids coaches throughout the UK, well, throughout the world, but there's lots in the UK. So I'm more than happy for people to get in touch with me if they want to find out if there's anyone local to them.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so at the end, I'll get everyone's links and things like that, and I'll put them in the comments so that people can go through the comments and see, and also the link to your book, which people have been asking for.
That's so kind. Thank you.
Yeah, that's lovely. So how has the book been received in your own networks? Because obviously you must network with a lot of mums. You're a mum yourself, and you know you work in schools. So how has the book been received by mums, teachers? Maybe have you reached out to any schools at all? How has it been received?
Absolutely. Well, it's amazing. To be honest, it's amazing. I feel so. I'm not from Basingstoke. I've lived here for 13 years, 14 years maybe. And I have built up a pretty, an amazing network locally. But I just feel so lucky to be so supported here by teachers, by parents, by kind of friends, by professional services, and what have you. And I've had a lot of friends support my book, which has been lovely. Friends with children, and I've had a positive response from them. And then through my networks, mainly online on Facebook, I've had lots of parents buy. I mean, I sold about 120 copies in the last 3.5 weeks, which I'm feeling quite proud. Well, immensely proud.
Brilliant.
Actually, I've got some fantastic reviews on Amazon. I had a parent saying that her child's autistic and has emotional and behavioural issues, and it's a tough challenge for her to be still and focused, and that she found the book was amazing. I've had someone comment that they're using the book. They're going to be using the book in school when schools go back, which is fantastic. One thing I've decided I want to pursue is a head teacher in a school I'm working with asked me if she could send a link to my book to the parents in school, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing, but how can I help school? So I kind of came up with a little idea that I want to offer my book as a fundraiser for schools. So if schools are happy to kind of send information to parents about my book, then I will donate some money for every book sold to the school fundraising pot.
Oh, fantastic!
It's summer fair time, and
they're not going to have
money. No. Yeah. So I think if I can do that, so I've already got one school set. Parents are buying the book already, which is amazing. And then I had an email from a Senko in a school today saying I've spoken to the person who runs the ELSA support group, and she'd like to review your book and put it on her website. So it's incredible. But I think the people who've seen it have seen it as a tool. It's a tool that people can use. It's not a story. It's kind of got 20 different exercises, 10 yoga, 10 either mindful exercises or breathing exercises, or going back to, I can't remember which guest said something, but about the positive, waking up and using positive affirmations.
Oh yes,
and
that was Nighat. Yes,
that's it. Yeah, and just stuff like that. So it's all it's all really positive stuff. And from, for me and the work I do anyway, it's all about empowering children to be able to help themselves in those moments that they find a challenge, whether it's anxiety, anger, stress, pressure, frustration, a whole raft of things. And it will help adults as well.
So look, Kath, you've had some comments here. Someone's put TV program, maybe. Someone else has said a video.
Wow. Yes.
So, these are suggestions out there. If anyone's got any questions for Kath, or anyone's got any concerns, then do post them in, and I will read them out to her. Someone else has said, that's Rima said, I've been using guided meditation and breathing exercises to help support my kids' mental health. It's been a real lifesaver. Now they are hooked and do it without me prompting them. So that's just such a wonderful story. So yeah.
And I've had people say about the age for the book, because I think you can never be too young. If you can teach children from a young age,
yes,
the tools and techniques, so it becomes their normal. And I think that's what's really important. So it's normal to meditate. It's normal to practice the breathing. It's normal to listen to guided visualizations, whatever it might be. It's and even the gratitude, like every night before bedtime, kind of say, what made you happy today? What are you grateful for today? I think it's so powerful.
It is powerful.
So powerful.
Oh, I can't wait to have a look for my daughter. So before you go, I would like you to maybe do a few quick exercises, relaxation exercises, or you got any tips?
I'll take them out of the book. Yeah, because I've got a couple of exercises that I use anyway in my Relaxed Kids classes, which I find really effective. One of them, it's a grounding exercise, or it could be a mindful exercise. So with adults, or with, I guess, if I work in secondary school or with adults, I would do the the 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste, which is brilliant for kind of the older ones. But with the younger ones, I use the colours of the rainbow, and I ask them to notice and either name to themselves or point at something they can see that's red and then orange. And we kind of have a little bit of space to give them time to look at. So if I'm doing this in a preschool, I might have children go and grab the things that are different colours, which is fine. Because what I do find over a period of weeks, they will start understanding that they don't need to get the object. They could just point at it. And then what's lovely is, as the children, with the older children, eventually they can do it without the pointing. So it's like a progression. And it's just lovely. And I think if children are having a moment of anxiety, kind of just looking around, what can you see that's red? What can you see that's orange? What can you see that's yellow? And it's like a little distraction method, and I think that's really quite helpful.
And it helps to ground them. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think children can do it themselves. It doesn't need to be the colour of the rainbow. They might have 3 favourite colours that they like, so they could adapt it to work for them. And then the other one is, I'll actually read it as it is in the book.
Yes,
it's quite nice to give you a taste of how the book's written. So Phoebe B wants to teach you triangle breathing. Do you know what a triangle looks like? It has 3 sides. Can you see a triangle on this page? And there is a little triangle on the page.
Ah, yes.
And it's got the idea of what to do. So with triangle breathing, we're going to draw a triangle on our hand, or we can.
So can we do it? Can I do it while you're doing it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me what to do.
What we're going to be doing. We're going to breathe in as we draw one side of the triangle. So we're going to draw the triangle on our hand. Breathe in as we go up. Then we're going to hold our breath just for 1 second as we go down. And breathe out as we finish that triangle. So we're breathing in, holding, and breathing out.
Okay.
In case it feels comfortable. And I think it's important with the holding the breath, only holding for 1 second.
So you're holding the breath. So you're holding the breath while you're doing the second side of the triangle.
Breathe in as you do one side. Hold as you come down the second side, and breathe out as you finish the triangle.
Excellent.
So just a little nice exercise.
Simple, isn't it?
I think everything's pretty simple. I think it has to be, because we need to remember it. I think if we make it too complicated, I think if it's too complicated, I won't remember it myself, let alone expecting little ones to remember.
And have you had any feedback from anyone who's read the book, in terms of in your network, who's sort of said to you, oh, my child has suffered from this or that, or what have been the main concerns that you've picked up from other parents?
Anxiety is key, I think. The key thing, 100%.
Yeah.
I think, and I find myself, like with my children, my older daughter seems to be quite okay with everything. She's kind of just getting on with life, whereas my 7-year-old, she had a transition day at school. They took her, they went into school for an hour and a half today. And so she woke up this morning and said, "Mummy, has coronavirus gone?" And she asked me that every morning. It's like, no, so why am I going to I can't go to school then. I can't go to school. So just trying to explain to her that, we're allowed to do this, we'll keep our distance and all those, and school will keep you safe, and Mummy wouldn't send you if we didn't, it is that unknown still though, isn't it? Because I can't 100% guarantee that everywhere I take her is going to be safe, but it's using our judgment and doing what's right for our
and
little
and
ones.
also realizing that there's no guilt there if you decide to send them back or if you decide to keep them at home. Totally. That's really up to you. Yeah.
That's what's been really good up to this point, that it is, it's down to you. And people will, I for one thought, oh my gosh, should I be sending my year 6 daughter back? And we did. We had a conversation and we kind of told her what she could expect and things like that. So, but she's, oh my gosh, it's changed her going back.
So you've had some feedback here. So people have said, I've loved the rainbow idea. We'll try it. Love drawing the triangle. So it's the simple things that are the best, I'm sure.
Totally.
Stop it, please. Stop it. Go out, please.
Oh, bless. It's usually me.
She's trying to get in on the act.
Bring her in.
Crazy. But yes, I think lockdown is certainly taking its toll on our young ones. So yeah. It's great that you've got that book though. And someone said listening to Kath has really relaxed me. Oh,
I have a look. Yeah, people say that I've got one of the. I don't know. I think it's a compliment. Like your voice sends me to sleep.
Oh,
so thank you.
Okay. Right. Brilliant. So, if anyone's got any questions, if they haven't got any questions, we are going to love you and leave you, Kath, because time is running out with us. We're nearly. Wow, we're over 9 o'clock. And I wanted to actually just run through a couple of quick tips as well. So after you've gone, I am going to bring on my colleague Richard, and we're going to run through some quick tips just to give to our parents that are out there that might be anxious or worried and stuff like that. And quite a lot of what guests have said tonight is actually in the tips. So that's really good that we know that we're on the right track. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time and thank you for coming on the show. And I think it's been such a fantastic, well-rounded show because we've had somebody who's been working with parents, we've had a teacher come on, and we've now got somebody who's been working specifically with children. So it's, in a different way and looking after their mental health, which is so important. So thank you. Thank you so much.
For having me, and thanks to everyone for listening. Okay
then. All right. And we'll drop your links in the comments, so don't forget to send those to me.
No, I'll do that.
All right.
Thank you very much. Okay then, Roz. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, I'm going to... Okay. Whew. Wow, that is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So just before we go into our tips, I think we want to just do a quick run through of our tips. So I'm going to try to see if we could get Richard onto the show to say hi. So Richard, if you're still listening, please do come onto the show or let yourself be known, and then you can we can go through the tips if you want to. But other than that, I am going to start because we have quite a few to get through and it's been over an hour already. So I'm just going to get straight into them. So I'm just going to see if Richard is coming on. Let me just see. Okay. I'm sure he'll add himself on if he wants to come on. Okay, so I think the first one I've got here is to not compare your life to other people's on social media, because I feel like for some parents it looks like they're sailing through, and but we only show a very small snapshot of what's going on social media, and you know, we always show the best 5 minutes of the day or the best 10 minutes of the day. No one knows what goes on in someone's house for the rest of the 24 hours that you know, they could be struggling just the way you are. So sometimes it's good not to believe everything you see on social media or on the news. And I think don't be so hard on yourself as well. We're not trained teachers, we're parents, and parenting unfortunately doesn't come with a manual. So again, I think we have to be kind to ourselves. I think if your children are particularly active, I would take them outside and use what you can see around you to help them learn. So, for example, counting trees or counting birds, and looking at different types of cars or whatever, just to help them to learn in their environment outside. And don't feel guilty for taking time out for yourself, as you have your children 24/7. So don't ever feel guilty if you need to take an hour out of the day for yourself. Take time to explain to your children about the coronavirus in simple terms if they want to talk about it. And I think, like what we were saying before, we have to like help them to unlearn some of the more scary things that were said at the beginning, because things aren't so scary anymore. Talk to the school if you're having anxieties or concerns about going back in September, because I know the school are putting lots of measures in place to help parents. So that is a really good thing. Keep healthy routines like meal times, bedtimes, school time. That's a really good thing. And also model how to manage feelings. Children pick up on our anxieties, how we talk and how we manage our own feelings. So we just have to be aware that we have to model that behavior for them. And the final one I would say is some of the things that Kath were talking about. Try some of the mindfulness exercises, the breathing, some of the grounding exercises are really, really powerful for anxieties. And yeah, so and I will post all the links in the comments. I will do that tomorrow. We'll also send you the tips tomorrow, so you'll have everything all in one place. Thank you so much for listening tonight. It's been wonderful having you, and see you at the next show, which will be in 2 weeks' time. Bye bye.